Hi, friends. Happy New Year to you. This is Lisa with Life with Fife, a knitting podcast where I talk about creativity, knitting, spirituality, all things related to the creative life, and how by leaning into our creativity and our knitting in particular, that we create more meaning and more happiness. So I hope that you had a wonderful holiday. I hope that you were warm and cozy and had some good knitting projects to keep you busy. I certainly did. We were in England visiting Sophie. This is the first trip that we've taken to Europe in about 20 years. So it was a big deal. And it was the first trip for our son. Our daughter is obviously living there. But so it was a big deal, and we could have, I worried about the travel. I worried about the planes, of course, and everything was so smooth and no jet lag, and which was unbelievable. And I don't know why we didn't have jet lag. I don't know why I didn't have jet lag. I normally really struggle with that. The only thing I can think of is that I've been taking ashwagandha. Does anyone know if that could help with jet lag? I know it helps. It's supposed to help with sleep and anxiety, and I'm taking it for some hormonal stuff, but it really, I honestly, I got off the plane. We arrived in the morning, and it was really easy for me to stay awake all day. And I went to bed, I think 10 o'clock, slept the whole night. And then the next day I just felt like it was right on schedule. So it was really, that was a new experience, and that was a big part of, I was worried about that, but so I was so grateful. I was knitting like crazy on the plane, knitting like crazy the days before we left, trying to finish up Sophie's sweater, and it got finished, and I posted a short about it, but I'm going to post some more information about her sweater here in just a moment. That sweater was the biggest, most complicated knitting project I ever did. It was the first fully steeked item that I've done, meaning I've done steeks down the center for a cardigan before, but I've never steeked the sleeves of a garment. And it was a drop shoulder design with cables throughout, and it was not a pattern. So it was using Elizabeth Zimmerman's V-neck Aran sweater in the opinionated knitter. So just her pithy directions, as she calls them. And I'm so pleased with how it came out. Sophie particularly is pleased. That was the most important thing. She wanted it a little bit longer, more like a jacket. So that is how it came out. But it's such an interesting experience knitting something in that way, where you really are just, you're creating your own design. So here's my schematic. Someone's making coffee in the background, so just ignore that. But so you have a circle like this. You know your pattern, you know the gauge of the yarn that you're working with. You determine the width of your sweater total, which equals K. And then you divide the circle up by the number of stitches per cable pattern. And you add in on the armpit, on the arms or sleeve area, you add in enough for a steek. This is Max's sweater. I just kind of did it all the way around, but in Sophie's sweater here, I had a steek. I had added in stitches for a steek, and I decreased on either side of those as I moved up to create a V-neck pattern. So you could do it for various, you could do it for different ways for the neckline, but that's essentially it. You count out how many stitches are in each of the patterns. You cast on for that amount, and then you just knit up. So her sweaters are always designed in a bottom up schematic, but I suppose you could do this the same way, top down, just reversing the decreases for increases. Although I find it pretty easy to do bottom up. So so that's how that sweater worked, and it was I love it because I'm going to be doing another one. It really frees you up to do lots of different options. And this was taken from the Opinionated Knitter. It was a really huge learning experience, and I feel like I really did learn a lot, and I'm happy with how it came out, and I'm anxious to do another one. So I got Sophie's sweater done she was so thrilled. I was so thrilled. We blocked it there in England, and it took so long to dry because it's so damp there. But it finally dried, and then she was wearing it, and it looked gorgeous on her. And here's the video. So here's my girl wearing her sweater. As you can see, it's very long, more like a jacket, which is what she wanted, but it's got the diamond cable patterns. It was knitted with Briggs and Harris yarn. There's a drop shoulder. There's the center opening that I picked up. It stays on her shoulders, but the fit could be a little bit better. You can see the diamonds in the back. I'm just very proud of how it came out overall. So I forced Sophie to model the sweater. She wasn't thrilled about that, but where we were staying, this Airbnb was so like, it was in the country, and it was so pretty, and the lighting was, even though it was gray and rainy, it was like so perfect to really showcase the cables. It came out beautifully, and we found some buttons when we were walking around London that we loved. One of the highlights of my trip into Oxford was, besides seeing the cathedral and the library and all the places that Sophie, that's so beautiful, I saw the Toast flagship. I think it's the flagship store. If it's not, it should be. And it was in the center of, oops, my glasses. It was in the center of Oxford, and here I am at Toast. I'm upstairs in the home goods area, but you can see some of their beautiful sweaters. What I love about Toast is just the simplicity and the quality that they apply to all of their clothes. It just, the aesthetic is, of course, beautiful. So I was walking around the store and just like handling these beautiful sweaters, and it gave me an appreciation. And I know why they do them in such a, with such a large gauge. It's because it's easier and faster knit, and it's easier to sell it, right? But the yarn, that it really gave me an appreciation for the softness and the squishiness and the thickness of the sweaters. And I've developed a new appreciation for that, because I love to knit on fine yarn with fine needles. And I'm learning now to kind of try something new and expand. And maybe this year I'm going to do some basic boxy cardigans, things like that. I've been kind of jotting down some ideas, and I definitely would like to do a sweater in the style that I saw in Toast, which was a boxy cardigan. And if you look at the collar, it's a really interesting sort of just bow that ties down and would be pretty easy to knit. So it was just really fun. It was really fun to see some beautiful clothes. I really do admire British style. I have to say, I really do admire it. It was really, really wonderful. So a great start to the end of the year, and a great feeling to start the new year. Hi friends, back again, different day, but you know how it goes. So one of the things that I really wanted to talk about today was, there's this Buddhist idea of right livelihood, and where you are doing something that you really love and care about, also that helps others, and you do it with an open heart. And so it's been something that I haven't always been able to achieve in my life. Not that any livelihood done with good intentions, in my opinion, is a right livelihood. So it's not like it's, you have to be doing not profit, charity work to do right livelihood. But this idea of, it's always been something that I've wanted. And so I've thought about ways that it can happen. And so recently, in the last few months, I started doing some volunteer work with a local nonprofit here in Vermont that where they house formerly incarcerated women. And I volunteered to teach knitting, and it's become more of a knitting circle. I go every week or a week and a half or 2 weeks, depending on what everyone's schedule is. And we knit together and we share what we're doing, and I help out with any knitting problems. And we sometimes look at Ravelry and get ideas, and I talk about needles and I talk about yarns, and I share some of my yarns with them. And so it's just been it's been so fun. Like, these women are great. They're so fun and funny, and just like every other knitting circle I've ever belonged to, it's just been a time of creativity and collaboration and sharing, and I just really enjoy it. So it's something that I want to do more of, and I thought about expanding this program and how can it be expanded and how can I do that, and the idea of raising money to help do that. And so, it's speaking with friends who also knit. This idea of a knitting collective has come up, more than once, and I've thought about it, and I think it could be a really good way, knitting small, beautiful items. I would like to use real wool and quality, sustainable wool when possible, and things like that, and creating these items, and also that are valuable and things that people will pay, actual value money for, and that will help the person who knits it earn a living wage for what they've created, and perhaps even helping some of these women who are interested, if the formerly incarcerated women who are interested, if they are interested, maybe this could be something that they could, move forward and create a life where they do this kind of work. So that was in my mind when I was at Toast, and looking at all their beautiful, simple designs made me think that it was possible to do this, and that there's a market for people who really are looking for this kind of thing. So I've just been playing. This is just where I'm at creatively right now, and just playing with various designs that I think, I don't know, could be knitted quickly and that are fun and beautiful. So I started knitting. I made this really sweet cowl, which is just it's actually really warm and cozy, and I've worn it many times at work, and I get lots of compliments on it. And it was a pretty quick knit, pretty easy, pretty beautiful. And it reminds me, I just wanted to share with you an old cowl that I made years ago on a trip to a plane ride. I think maybe I did some of it before I left on the plane, but it was a plane ride to Arizona to see my parents, and it was there and back. So it took me about 8 hours to knit this, and I also knit it when I was there too. So maybe 10 hours to knit this, but this is a more focused knit. And then I made this hat, which I think is really cool. It's kind of like a bucket, but when you wear it, it fits in a different way. It's like the new style of, it's not a fez hat, but I don't know what style you call this, where it's like kind of a high brim. It's double knitted on the inside. The brim has ribbing on the inside, so it's super warm. And it's I wore it on a walk yesterday, and I was actually sweating. It was how warm it was. And I just think it's really pretty with the fairisle, and it took, it's a pretty quick knit and a really functional, beautiful piece. So, this is just where I'm at, and I wonder if any of you have belonged to a knitting collective before, if you've had any experience with that and you'd like to share that with me, or your thoughts on right livelihood, and how to make a living doing what you really love, or how to increase. Now, I'm still a teacher. I still do that work, and I don't plan on stopping that work. This is going to be a part-time thing. But it still is something that is a dream of mine, and even a small income from that would be really wonderful. And so, that's where I'm at. The world needs so much care and love and peace right now, and I'm holding that in my heart, and I'm holding that for you. And as always, it's so good to be together with you, and sending you all the best for the coming year. Namaste.